Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to give you guys a quick preview of the craziest hand of the night. Due to my equity realization currently being dog shit in this Omaha hand, my range advantage and the solver solution led me to lead on this river as a reverse tail in this multi-way pot on this textured non-monotone board based on my reverse implied odds and my loose aggressive line inducing my opponents to reverse level themselves into either making exploitative foes or snapping me off due to my past aggression frequency all night. Okay, I know that made absolutely no sense, but shout out to the poker nerds for making all of those cool phrases so I can misuse them on my YouTube channel. Okay, I'll give you guys two options on what really happened in this hand. Either I hit a miracle 2-outer on the river in a hand that I shouldn't even been in the first place, or I bluffed again for the 100th time tonight. Find out later on Valdez's dog shit poker vlog. Thanks for watching, subscribe. Okay guys, now I'm back at the amazing Doghouse Poker Room in Cypress, Texas. And yes, there's so many more poker rooms in Texas that I haven't been to yet, and we'll get to those places. But I just had to stop back by to see my friends here at Doghouse. Because one, everyone here is always so nice. These words on the window are so true, by the way. And also, because on my last vlog here, I was run out of the building by rats and nits, and when I left Doghouse the last time, my pockets were a little bit lighter than they were when I came in. So I'm back for revenge, and this time with my lucky do-rag to try to show these players once again that I'm the big dog at Doghouse. And hopefully I'll get a different result today than I did last time. But that's enough of the intro. Let's get into these poker hands because this is a long ass vlog. Matter of fact, thank you guys for even clicking on this long ass video. Like this video and subscribe to the channel for good luck, because if you don't, you'll look out of shape like this thing and your whole net worth will be what he's holding. Let's get into the first hand. I bought in for $500 and this is my very first hand of the night. I mean, I could barely get my camera set up when I immediately looked down at Ace-8 of Hearts and the hijack. Now there's been a raise in early position to $15 and a call. So with a suited ace in late position, I decided to re-raise right away to $50.
Uh-oh. Come on, man. Come on. There's all in. Zero action.
The cutoff is next to act and he does what? He jams all in for over $400 on my first hand of the night? Now I reluctantly fold and lose $50 in about 5 seconds, but that's not the story of this hand. This very first hand is in the vlog because I'm not proud to say it, but I have to be honest with you guys. Yep, I'm on tilt. Now I know, it shouldn't be that easy to get me on tilt, but I'm just being honest with you guys. This is my very first hand and I only lost $50, but my tilt meter is already at about a solid 8 out of 10. I mean, when I get squeezed and I lose money without being able to see a flop, that's a big pet peeve of mine. No diddy, next hand. The next hand is the reverse button Omaha hand, and I look down at pocket 8s with queen high diamonds and a 7 in the cutoff. The $5 big blind is limped all the way around, and we head 6 ways to the flop. Oh, and this is a 1-2 bring in 5 game. If you don't know what bring in 5 means, then go watch vlog number 12. Let's see a flop. The flop comes 8-5-4 with 2 hearts. So we flop the absolute nuts here with top set. I'm joking. Look how fast the poker nerds were about to run in my comment section talking shit. I'm just kidding, guys. But in all seriousness, we flop top set, which is actually the second nuts, and the big blind bets $25 on this flop. 5 players make the call, including myself, and we head to the turn 6 ways. The turn comes the 9 of hearts, which brings in the flush, and when it checks to the button, he decides to bet $60 on his turn card. Now with 3 players already making the call for $60, when it gets back to me, This is a no-brainer call as I'm getting great odds to chase the board being paired. Now pair the board one time, 5 ways to the river. Shitty.
Solve it.
Hey, Doug has his preferences out.
380.
The river is the 10 of hearts, so the board doesn't pair. And when it checks to the button, he bets the pot for $380, which is what the dealer says. But by my calculations here in my bedroom, the pot was actually $480. But anyway, everyone folds, and then the button, who I now know to be Sean, says that he had the ace high flush, which is obvious, but my only question is why did he make it so cheap on the turn with the nut flush? But hey, that's none of my business. This is going to be a long vlog, and you guys will learn a little bit more about Sean later on in this vlog. I'm starting to get deja vu as I'm starting this vlog off by losing every hand just like the last time I came to the doghouse. Let's get to the next hand. In the next interesting hand, I look down at King 3 of spades in the hijack and I raise it up to $15. The button makes the call along with 3 other players and we go to the flop 5 ways. The flop comes King 3 Jack with 2 clubs, so I flop top and bottom pair, and a player in middle position goes all in for his last $47. I'm the only caller, now it's heads up to a runout.
Oh, that's it.
I lose this pot to a rivered flush, and you could tell I'm starting to get aggravated by my facial expressions and how I'm shuffling the chip in my right hand. Let's see if I can win the next hand.
This hand, yeah.
It wasn't the that King 9 pocket king.
I look down at King Jack off in middle position and I make the min raise to $10. It gets to the hijack and he re-raises it to $40. Now alarm bells are being set off in my head because this has been a tight / passive table so far. So when I get re-raised, I know that I'm well behind the hijack's re-raising range. However, when the big blind makes the call, I make the call as well, knowing that this is only really a profitable call if I get the right board to try to take the pot away on flops that favor my range more than the hijack's range. Now if he has an overpair on the flop, I'm probably screwed, but let's go 3 ways to the flop. The flop comes 8-4-3 rainbow, and I check in flow to the pre-flop aggressor. These players play pretty straight up, so it's time to find out if he has an overpair or not. When the hijack checks, now I know he has a big ace like ace king off or ace queen suited. Let's see a turn. The turn is the 6 of diamonds, so this board smashes my potential pre-flop min raising range. I would make that min raise pre-flop with hands like pocket 6s, maybe 7-5 suited, maybe even pocket 3s. This board could also hit the big blind, but when he checks, I decided to bet 1/3 of the pot for $40. If my read is correct and the hijack has ace high, then it shouldn't take that big of a bet to get the job done. And if he makes the small call on a turn, then we'll just barrel the river, it'll be fine. The hijack snap folded the best hand and then the big blind folded as well, so I took this small one down. This hand was a good example on how knowing your customers can make you money regardless of what's in your actual hand. It's a small one, but this is my first pot of the night. Can I get some momentum? Let's get to the next hand. Yes, you guys just heard gunshots while I was at home playing my weekly meetup game on Poker Bros. Now you could tell by my reaction or my lack of a reaction that this is pretty normal to me. So like this video and subscribe to the channel to help Valdez move out of the hood. Now let's get into this hand from my last meetup game where I decided to do live commentary on the hand on Discord with the other players at the table. But I lie about my hand, of course, because it's poker. Duh, always lie. Coming into the first interesting hand of the night where we look down at pocket kings on the button and everybody's limping so far, and it gets back to me with pocket kings. I think we should raise it up to about $12. These players are bad, so I just want them to call when I have pocket kings for $12. Let's see. It gets to the big blind. The small blind calls, the big blind calls, middle position calls, the fish and the cutoff calls. And we go 7 ways to a flop. The flop comes king 7-3, so we flop top set. There's two clubs on the board. It checks to the big blind. He bets $19. Now he's been playing bad all night, so here with top set, I think we should just call and let him blast off. So we call the $19, fitting folds because he's a nit, and then we're off to the turn. The turn is the 6 of clubs, and the fish bets $55. Now here with top set, we don't block. We don't have a king of clubs, so oh shit, my heart's racing fast. We don't block the king of clubs. We don't have a king of clubs. We call the $55 and just pray the board pairs, and it doesn't. Board doesn't pair. And Mr. Long Island, he's playing bad all day. Let's see what he does. He doesn't believe I have top set. I'm telling him I have top set. He bet $110 on this river. Now, when he bets $110 on this river, with top set, we don't beat any of the flushes. But we don't put him on a flush, so we still have to go for thin value. So we're going to raise. We raised to $352. Now, we put him in a tough spot because he has dog shit in his hand. So hopefully he, like, when he, and he folds.
Yeah, I know you got bullshit. Show the blog.
Watch it on the vlog, bitch. Bluff his ass. Now, obviously, as you guys can see, I wasn't bluffing here with the queen high flush. So that was a good fold, bro. If any of you guys want to play poker online with me, make sure you download the Poker Bros app using the link in my description. That link will automatically place you in both of the clubs that I play in. My meetup games keep getting better and better, so shout out to all of you who played with me on my last one. My next online meetup game will be tomorrow, Friday at 8 p.m. Central Time. So make sure you're there early because spots fill up quick. Now let's get into one of my favorite hands from the vlog. In the next hand, we have the reverse button Omaha hand, and I look down at ace jack double suited with pocket sixes in the small blind. Now this is a good Omaha hand, don't get me wrong, but this isn't the absolute greatest hand, especially here in early position. But for some reason, guys, when I look down at this hand, it was like I fell in love with it. Aww. So when the $5 big blind limped back to me, I decided to raise it up to $15 here in early position. 4 players make the call, and when it gets back to the cutoff, he decided to bet the pot for $110. Now, if you guys saw my face, then you can clearly see that I'm annoyed. 1, because I was already in love with my hand. And 2, I know you guys aren't aware of this because none of the hands have made the vlog so far, but this is this guy's 3rd time squeezing me already. This is a tight player, and it seems like every time I raise, this guy's woke up with a premium. Now, I folded to his previous raises, but this time I decided to fight back and make the call. Now, I decided to just call because I wanted to bring in the other players to get better odds on my money. Honestly, guys, I was so annoyed with this guy constantly squeezing my raises that I wanted anyone to win but him. 3 other players end up making the call as well, and we end up going 5 ways to a flop with a pot that's already over $500.
Wow.
Yeah, fight back. No more squeezing.
But I will now.
Damn, wow.
No more squeezing. Fight back.
You knew what I was going to do.
Anybody call?
5 players.
Yeah, there are 5 of
block
y'all.
right here.
There are 5 of y'all going for it.
5 players.
The flop comes 4-4-3 with 2 hearts and a diamond, so I flop very little, only having a pair of 6s and a backdoor diamond draw. So I'm forced to check here, and when it checks to the cutoff, he, as expected, goes all in for his remaining $140. Now I don't have much at all, but it was $110 pre-flop, and now with the pot already being over $700, I'm not folded on the flop for only $140. Now don't get me wrong, this is a losing call in the long run, but in this spot, I was just hoping that none of the players behind me left to act flopped a big draw or a 4 and re-raised me. If I could somehow see a turn in a pot this big for only $140, then I was okay with that. 2 other players end up only making the call so we don't get raised, and we head to the turn 4 ways with a pot that's already over $1,100 with 1 player all in. Let's see a turn card.
Your card coming. Turn. Set.
No way, the turn quickly got checked through and we binked the Miracle 2 outer on the river for a full house? Let's go!
It's a miracle! A miracle!
I mean, guys, we had absolutely no hope on the turn when I couldn't even turn a diamond draw. But nobody bet and I binked the 2 outer on the river? No way! I mean, the turn got checked through so fast that I didn't even have time to pray to the poker gods. Okay, let me gather myself and focus up, because even though there's 1 player all in, there's still 2 players left in this hand. And unless one of them check the turn that fast with pocket queens, then we're always going to have the best hand here. Okay, I'm first to act, and I need to bet and just pray I get called. Maybe one of these players left to act has a hand like 7-5 or 5 deuce for a straight and will call me. So I decide to bet $320 on this unbelievable river card. Now let's see if I can make some extra money.
What a man. Two five. Merry Christmas, bro.
Vote.
Full. 6 is
6 is full.
What a freaking river.
6 is
Good
full.
hand.
Wow, an ace is damn. 6 is full, gets it all.
Good hand.
Damn, shit, way to go.
Wow. Shit. Way to go.
Good hand, bro. Good hand.
So we ended up getting the Christmas gift call on the river when my good friend Mario looked me up on the river with pocket kings. Now for those of you that don't know, Mario was the infamous quote-unquote nit that I was making lighthearted jokes about on my last vlog here at Doghouse, because I couldn't beat him in a hand. But honestly, I didn't expect it to actually become a running joke that caught on though. Hey everyone at Doghouse, leave my friend Mario alone. He is no longer the king nit. He's just a good player who I just couldn't beat the last time I was here. However, I do have a new king of all the nits who I will tell you guys about later on in this vlog. And oh, as far as this hand goes, hey, what can I say? I was able to see a free river and I hit a 2 outer to suck out on Mario's kings and the preflop raisers aces. What you guys just saw was truly a masterclass of skill displayed by me. All of the books that I studied on how to hit 2 outers and suck out are obviously finally starting to pay off. But in all seriousness, hey, I'd rather be lucky than good any day. Let's get to the next hand.
He destroyed his first bullet over there.
Alright, now it's time to find out how much you guys actually care about the face cam, because due to lost footage, there will be no face cam for the next couple of hands. In this hand, I have a $10 straddle on the button, and when it limps to me, I decided to raise my suited ace here on the button to $60. Only Frank and the big blind makes the call. Let's go heads up to the flop. The flop comes King 7-6 with 2 clubs, and when Frank checked to me, I decided to c-bet small on this flop for $35. I'm gonna have more kings in my pre-flop raising range than Frank's calling range, and occasionally this bet will fold out hands like queen and jack high that brick this flop. But obviously, Frank isn't folding 2 cards on this flop for $35, so he makes the call and we're off to the turn. The turn comes the ace of spades, so I turn top pair, and when it's checked to me, I decided to check back the turn for pot control. I turned a decent hand, but I didn't want to bloat this pot with a middling top pair. So I checked back the turn. Now let's see a river card. The river is the 9 of spades, so I rivered 2 pair and Frank decided to lead on this river card for $85. And now that it's on me, I'm pretty cool with this hand being a raising hand in this spot. I checked back the ace on the turn and I rivered a very disguised 2 pair. So I know I want to raise, but I'm not sure how much I want to make it. I didn't really get a sense that Frank was bluffing, so I decided to go with a more polarized sizing and go all in for about $375 effective, because that's what Frank had left behind. He thought about it only for about 8 seconds and made the fold. So he probably was bluffing because I underrep my hand. But I still had to go for value, because occasionally I'll cooler a smaller 2 pair. But let's see what's going on in this next clip. Shout out to my guy Frank in the purple hat and Robert, this dealer with this cool stick thingamajig. Now apparently this stick is pretty common in casinos, but I've never seen one used in a poker room. Shout out those guys. I'll look down at ace queen of diamonds under the gun in the next hand and raise it up to $20. Frank then has the audacity to re-raise me to $55. The hijack code calls the $55 and then it folds to the big blind and he goes all in for his remaining $87. Now it's back on me and I could jam all in and try to isolate the big blind and steal Frank and the hijack's $55, but I decided to just call instead. Am I getting soft? Frank calls the $87 as well as the hijack and we go 4 ways to the flop with one player already all in. Let's see a flop. The flop comes ace 9 deuce with 2 clubs and I lead on this flop for $115. Frank is the only caller, so it's heads up to the turn with one player already all in for the main pot. Let's see a turn. What you got, bro? We're friendly. What you got?
God damn.
2 now. 2. All right, check. Oh, weakness.
Oh. No.
Check. Chop it up. Damn it.
Look at that. Ah. Chill.
At least you ain't have ace king.
10 get you in trouble. They got me in trouble before, too.
That's the only reason why I didn't raise.
I chopped my boy. It's all good. I wouldn't rather chop with nobody else, man.
Rush, him 3.
Man, me and Frank chopped this one up. Nice hand, bro. Next hand.
Definitely have 40.
10 minutes said easy to play. I folded.
Easy to play, exactly.
In this next hand, we have another reverse button Omaha hand, and I look down at king 9 pocket ace double suited in the cutoff. Now I'm starting to love these middling double suited hands like this in Omaha, especially in late position. I consider raising, and I think raising this hand is fine, especially in later position, but I decided against it because I didn't want to get re-raised for pot and blown off my hand. I decided to just call the big blind, 8 ways to the flop. The flop comes 8-7-4 with 2 clubs, so I flop top set, and a player in early position bets $25 on this flop. I make the call, as well as 3 other players, 5 ways to the turn. The turn comes the 7 of diamonds, so I turn the... Is it diamond or diamonds? Every voiceover, I just try to do it in the middle because I don't know if it's diamond or diamonds. 7 of diamonds. Please comment down below. Is it 7 of diamonds or is it 7 of diamond? But anyway, I turned the second nuts with top boat, and when it's checked to me, I decided to bet $50 on this turn card. UTG is my only customer. Heads up to the river.
I like that.
I bet $125 on the river with the third nuts and UTG makes the fold, so no more value on this hand. Let's get to the very next reverse button Omaha hand. Now this one is a fun one. Let's get to it. Last time turning 20 something. I got it. Okay, now I'm gonna need you guys' help in the comment section for this one. Tell me how good or how bad you guys think I played this hand. In the very next reverse button Omaha hand, I look down at King Jack 10-3 with Jack High Diamonds on the button. A player in middle position raises it up to $20. I make the call on the button as well as two other players, and we head 4 ways to the flop. The flop comes Jack 8 Queen Rainbow, so I flop a pair of jacks and an open-ended straight draw. It checks all the way through. Let's see a turn card. The turn comes the 7 of spades, and Frank leads on this turn card for $40. Now we definitely don't believe him, and when two players make the call, when it gets back to me on the button, I consider raising because the nuts didn't change on the turn. The nuts are still 10-9, and I think we would have heard from 10-9 by now, especially when the turn brought the spade draw, along with my hand blocking the nuts with me having a 10 in my hand. I end up just calling the $40 because I was getting a good price and I'm drawn to the nut straight. So I just call, let's head to the river. The river comes the 5 of diamonds, so we break everything, and when it's checked to me on the river, I ask the dealer how much is the pot and I decide to bet a little less than the pot for $225. No one has really shown interest in this pot the whole hand, and I was pretty confident that I can get most 2-pair and even set combos to fold. I was also sure that no one had the nuts, because they would have surely bet the turn harder or raised Frank's $40 bet. Let's see if I can get this bluff through and take this pot down.
245.
225.
225 is the best.
Frank makes the fold in the big blind, and we were most worried about him, because we just figured that he might be stubborn and call us light with a 2-pair type hand. So I was relieved when he folded, until this lady pretty much snapped me off. Now what does she have?
He got straight, huh?
Yep.
So she rivered the low end straight and picked off our bluff here on the river. What do you guys think about my bluff here? I think she had the one hand that maybe check calls the river. The other two straights of 10-9 and 6-9 I think have to bet the river, because 6-9 also blocks the nuts, so that straight would be a clear bet on the river as well. And why is this guy to my left constantly saying bluffy bluffy before this lady has even tabled her hand? She could have thought I had a straight and folded. I mean, the man hasn't played a hand since he squeezed me with ace king on the very first hand of the night, but he wants to get into other people's hands talking about some bluffy bluffy. Doghouse, we have a new king of all the nits. It's not my guy Mario. Leave Mario alone. It's this guy to my left, Mr. Bluffy Bluffy, who has a VPIP of less than 5%. Bluffy Bluffy. Next hand.
Flush draw. I was on the flush draw.
You should edit that out from the blog right there.
You don't watch me shit. That's going on blog. In the very next hand, you have Sean to my left insinuating that I edit the bad hands out of my vlog. And I tell him that he doesn't watch my vlogs, because if he did, then he would know that I put the good hands in and the bad hands in. But anyway, I look down at Queen 5 of spades in the cutoff and I raise it up to $15. 3 players make the call, Sean of course not being one of those 3 players, and we go 4 ways to the flop. The flop comes 9-4 deuce, all spades, so I flop the queen high flush, and when it's checked to me, I c-bet on this flop for $25. The lady who caught me bluffing in the last hand is the only caller, and we go heads up to the turn. The turn comes the 4 of diamond, and when she checks it over to me, I bet the turn for $60. She makes the call of course, because after that last bluff, she might not ever believe me again. Heads up to the river. The river is the jack of diamond, and when she checked it over to me, I decided to bet nearly full pot for $225. I wanted to lean into my image a little bit and go for the max that I thought she would call. She either missed some kind of draw completely, or she can have some kind of non-believing 9, so I thought a big bet was the correct play whether she missed completely or got a piece. I could even occasionally cool her a 4 every now and then. She ended up making the fold fairly quickly, and we took this one down. Hey, at least I got half of the chips back that I bluffed off in the last hand. Let's fast forward a little bit and get to the very next hand. In the very next hand, Frank has a $10 straddle on the button when I look down at ace king off in the hijack. It limps to me and I decide to raise to $50. Frank is the only caller, so let's see a flop heads up. The flop comes Jack 8 6 rainbow, and this board is definitely going to favor Frank's range. So I think my exact hand performs best as a check call. So I check it over to him with plans to call. But he checks it back, so let's see a turn card. The turn comes the ace of spades, so I turn top. And opposed to leading on this turn card and having my hand face up, I decided to check it over to Frank, because he's been very prone in stabbing turns when being shown weakness. So I check it over to him and he bets $35. I then decide to raise right away to $85, because now that he already has $35 invested on the turn, he's not folding pretty much any 2 cards after he bet. He makes the call and we're off to the river. The river comes the queen of spades, and I didn't love this card because 1, I didn't improve, and 2, it brought in a bunch of random hands that he could have been calling me with when he straddled the button preflop and called my raise, like 10-9 off, queen 6 or queen 8 off. Hell, he could have any random 2 pair. So I check it over to him and he immediately checked back. I turned over my ace king and it was good. So you guys just saw my last 3 hands in a row, and the last 2 hands got me my bluff money back that I bluffed off in the first hand. Let's get to the next hand. This next hand was yet another fun one. By this point of the night, I pretty much had a good pulse of the table and had a good feel for how everyone played. It's safe to say that I was in a rhythm by this point of the night. In this hand, I had the $10 straddle on the button, and when the option limps to me, I check my jack 9 off. Let's see a flop 6 ways.
6 players.
What's the name? Sid?
Yeah, 6. Yeah.
The flop comes queen 9 6 with 2 clubs, and under the gun bets $30 on this flop. Next to act makes the call, and when it folds to me, I have middle pair on the button on a passive table, so sign me up. Let's go 3 ways to the turn.
3 players.
The turn comes the 10 of spades, and it's checked to me. Now I know my 9 is no good, but with the jack in my hand against these 2 particular players, I decided to bet $75 when they checked to me. I wanted to rep a hand like jack 8 suited or a hand like king jack off, both hands in which I would just call a raise with on the button preflop based on the tighter player that raised $30 in early position. Now I planned on only one of them calling and then turning up the pressure on the river, but to my surprise, they both ended up calling. So we're off to the river 3 ways. The river came the 9 of spades, so we back into a disguised trip 9s. So I don't have to bluff this river card after all. And when it's checked to me yet again, I decided to bet 2/3 of the pot for $240. Now yes, the backdoor flush came in, but I'm not really worried about it, especially based on how the hand was played. With this bet of $240, I'm really targeting all queens who think I'm full of it. I'm sure one of these players has a queen. The initial preflop raiser folded fairly quickly, and now under the gun +1 is in the tank. She's thinking about it for nearly 2 minutes, going over her options. She's also taking turns between looking at me like a disappointed mother and then looking back at the board. Now guys, this is the same lady that caught me bluffing in that Omaha hand, so my image isn't the greatest in her eyes. And in this spot, I'm obviously okay with that because I actually have it this time. She eventually makes the fold and then beats herself up about it, saying that she knows her queen was good because she figured that I was bluffing again. I then play along with it like I got the bluff through, when in reality, she actually made the correct fold. So good fold on her behalf. Let's get to the next hand.
Cheating, what is it? The natural order of things.
Hey look, I guess all of the face cam footage wasn't lost after all. So now that we won a couple hands without it, you guys let me know down in the comments section. Does the face cam really make that big of a difference? In this next hand, I look down at king, queen off in middle position and I raise it up to $15. 4 players make the call. Now let's see a flop.
I'm already in for $1. I'm snapping that shit off.
Well, if you didn't have a shit instruction, I could call for $2 more.
It was a 10 of clubs up under there. Smelled like the 10 of clubs.
The flop comes queen 3-4 with 2 clubs, so I flop top pair with the king kicker and I bet $35 when it's checked to me. The cutoff is the only caller. Now let's see a turn heads up. The turn comes to 6 of spades and I'm first to act. I think about it for a second and then decide to overbet the pot and go all in for $181 effective. Now this is a very draw heavy board and I'm also targeting all smaller queens. The cutoff then sighs and says, "You're really gonna do me like that?"
Do me like that?
Why yes, my guy, I'm really gonna do you like that. I mean, we both sat down here to take each other's money. Why else do people come to the poker house? He eventually calls and tells his friend that this might be his last hand if he loses. I turn over my hand and he tells his friend that I'm ahead. I don't know exactly what I'm fading, but let's see if I can hold.
Yeah. The king high? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I always rip.
I know it. So I need a club or a 2 or a 7. There it is. Oh. Straight, got that hand. Wow.
I couldn't hold this time. I doubled up my opponent when he hit his open-ended straight draw on the river. He had a flush draw as well, but I was still over 60% to win this hand on the turn. Oh well, you're not gonna hold every time. Let's get to the next hand. No whining, Valdez.
Why not?
It would take days for me to get out.
In the next interesting hand of the night, we have yet another reverse button Omaha hand. I look down at pocket kings with 3-4 suited in the big blind and consider re-raising Frank's open to $10, but I decide against it and decide to just call the $10. And I know I said no whining about the last hand, but you guys should know me by now. I've already forgot about that lucky 2-outer I hit from earlier, and I'm still whining about losing that king-queen offhand that was now about 3 hands ago. Let's see a flop 5 ways.
I feel like getting out of line, bro. I'm fucking
Oh, we're talking about that? Mean you want to get out of line here?
No, I'm just because I can't hold.
Five players.
Can't hold. I almost said pot. Almost.
You will never bluff me with such.
I never would bluff you. Oh, man. That's why you don't play no more, because you're afraid of me. That's why you don't play. You retired.
I got some good stuff.
No, that's not why.
I got some good stuff, Mario.
Okay, good. Because I don't want to disappoint.
The flop came ace-9-4 rainbow and it got checked all the way around. I then turned a set of kings on the turn and lead out for $30. 3 players made the call, 4 ways to the river.
Yes, we know my mom does. Thank you.
The perfect river card peeled off when the 7 of hearts came, and now I'm first to act on the river with the second nuts, only losing to pocket aces. I lead on this river card for $125. Frank is the only player to look me up and make the call. I show him the bad news when I turn over my set of kings and take this pot down. Now it's time to get to my very last hand of the night. Now this was one of the most satisfying hands of the night for sure. You guys will see why. Let's get to it.
And heads up, I mean,
I got you beat, brother.
Yeah, you got.
I mean,
Shut up.
like I said, the only way you beat me is in a bad beat.
I'm okay with that.
Damn, I gotta leave. I got too many fucking hands. It's gonna be an hour-long vlog. All right, this is my last hand. It's 1 o'clock.
Let's see if we can make it a banger for the last.
Let's see.
See if we can make it a banger for everybody.
There's nothing like announcing your last hand before the hand starts and then looking down at Ace King off on the button with the straddle on.
It started off interesting. It
Oh,
started off interesting for your last hand.
Sean to my left, first to act, and the small blind raises it to $30. Now, alarm bells are being set off in my head because I'm not joking, guys. This was his first time raising preflop since the very first hand of the night. And what was that, over 4 hours ago? But anyway, the cutoff is the only player to make the call for $30, and then when it gets back to me on the button, I'm definitely squeezing here and I'm going fairly big. I know Sean has something, because under no circumstances is he raising preflop with nothing. However, I know I won't get credit for a hand like Ace King here with this being my last hand on the button, so I settle on a sizing of $150.
150?
150.
Told you I was gonna get him.
You gonna get me there?
Need chip stacks. You gotta go after all need chip stacks. Get some of them Sean dollars before I leave.
Oh, damn, true. That's true. I got a third person to think about, too.
Sean then takes some time and then makes the call, so we're going heads up to the flop.
Don't do that. Heads up. I'll fuck with you. You wanted to?
The flop comes 7-8-5 with 2 hearts, and Sean takes about 15 seconds and then checks it over to me. Now I could mix in some c-bets as well as some checks on this board, because this board isn't going to be good for my pre-flop re-raising range. So by always c-betting a flop like this, I'm really only representing overpairs. So this time, I decided to pot control here with ace high as opposed to c-bet and take a free turn card. Heads up to the turn. The turn comes the ace of clubs and Sean checks it over to me again. And this turn card is a clear bet on the turn in hindsight in my opinion. I'm just going to have the best hand so often on this turn regardless of how tight this player is. Sean does some speech play telling me to take the pot because he already knows that I have him beat. But I didn't want to have my hand face up.
I know you already got me. I know you might as well just take it.
So I take the passive route and check this turn card back and we go heads up to the river.
Call. I meant to call.
Oh, you just call?
Is that a raise? I meant to call.
It was just a call.
Florida table 3.
Yeah, I thought it was just a call, too.
This is good video for the blog right here.
The river comes to deuce of hearts and Sean bets out on the river for $100. I try to make the snap call, but I accidentally have a black $100 chip at the bottom of the 4 chips that I put out, so I ended up putting out $175 on accident. I then tell the dealer that I was trying to just call and then he calls the floor. What do you guys think the ruling should be? Let's see what the floor says.
You can just have a gentleman's agreement.
Yeah, just a call?
I put 4 out there. I didn't see it at the bottom.
I'm gonna let the floor tell y'all, and after that, I'm out of it.
More than half is gonna be a raise. You have to be a raise.
It's more than half of that.
Yes, it's more than. It feels like 150.
If you would have threw that out,
Yeah.
you would have been able to take it back because you threw that 1 green out there.
The floor ruled that I put out more than half of the bet, so that makes it a raise. Now let's see if Sean makes the call.
Well, I guess I'm making the blog. Just show me your ace and you'll be done.
Yes.
Yeah, you're good.
I told you I was going to get some of them Sean
I had the 9. I had 9s. I had 9s. Had 9s, yep.
Sean makes the call, and it turns out that our accidental raise made us an extra $75 in his hands, so we'll take it. Not a bad way to end off a session. Well, that was my last hand of the night, and that was definitely a roller coaster of a session. We had some good plays, some questionable plays, and we even hit a 2-outer on the river in the biggest hand of the night. But now it's time to cash out and see how we did.
27 chance. Good win.
Thanks, brother.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Thank you so much. You put that in your pocket.
And just like that, we're out. We were in for $1,000. We were out for $2,710. So that is a profit of this amount, $1,710. I'm happy with how I played today. Some things went my way, some things didn't go my way. That bluff on the river didn't go through. I mean, she checked the straight. I didn't put her on a straight. I put players on things like 2 pairs, stuff like that. She woke up with a straight and called. It did help my image for later in the game. I cannot believe, guys, with that Jack 9 off on the river, how do I not get paid there? I've been showing bluffs all night. Some made the vlog, some didn't, but I've been showing bluffs all night. How do you not pay me the 240 on the river? If I would have bricked that river, and if I would have just had a 9, but the spade came, I would have bet the same amount, maybe a little bit more. I would have bet like 270. So that bluff would have got through regardless. But I hit the 9, so I wanted to get paid. Maybe I should have bet 200. Maybe that, I just hate that I couldn't get paid off there. But she made the correct fold, but she was beating herself up all night about that fold because I had showed her bluffs before and she had called and been right. She called and been right on that one bluff, so she thought I was bluffing again. So she beat herself up for not calling with the queen, but she made the correct fold. The hand where I had king, queen, and I jammed the turn, I knew right where I was at. He either had a flush draw or a smaller queen. So I want that call all day. I can't believe, I hate I didn't get paid off. I mean, I hate that he caught up with the straight on the river, but I'm always ripping it there and I'm just gonna deal with the variance, but I want that call all day. So like those 2 hands, if she called on that hand where I had Jack 9 off on the button, if she called at 240 and then I hold on the next hand when I had king, queen off, that's a $600-700 flip right there. Like, so I ended up profiting 1710, but it could have been well over 2,500 if those 2 things go my way. The last hand was very satisfying. Shout out Sean. Guys, I know I joke a lot about players being nits, but like, look, you play your cards, it's your money. You can play your cards however you want to play your cards. I'm gonna joke about it. I mean, but you play your cards however you want to play your cards. But it did feel satisfying to get that last win over Sean when I woke up with ace king on the button and I had already announced that it was gonna be my last hand. So it gave me more credit for not having a strong hand when I raised the 150. When he called the 150, guys, I put him on, y'all not gonna believe me. I swear to God, I haven't lied to y'all not one time. I will never lie to y'all. Whatever I'm thinking, that's what I'm thinking. I put him on pocket 9s, guys. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I put him on pocket 9s. Look, this is gonna be a long vlog. If you made it this far, you really support me and I appreciate you for that. And you know that I'm not lying. I put him on pocket 9s. Now, if he would have showed up with jacks or whatever, I still would have said I put him on pocket 9s because the whole hand, I'm thinking he got pocket 9s. When he called, what is he calling 150 pre-flop with? He's the tightest player at the table. So I put him on a small pocket pair. So when the flop came, I knew he had an overpair, which is why I checked. And I checked the turn for deception because I know he's not gonna put me on a hand like ace king because I could have been raised with anything. I said it was my last hand. I could have been just trying to steal the $30. So all in all, you know, we profited over 1,700. Oh, I almost forgot. See, this night had so many action hands, I almost forgot about the Omaha hand. The Omaha hand where I had ace 6 jack. Honestly, guys, I got tired of that guy squeezing on me. Like, I got tired of that guy squeezing on me. Like,
Gay!
He was a tight player. Every time I would raise, he would squeeze. I raised 20, somebody called, he raised 100. He was squeezing me all night. He was squeezing me all night.
Why are you gay?
So did I make some questionable calls on that Omaha end? Yes. But by the time, he was already all in on the flop, I think, or pre-flop. Or no, he was already all in on the flop. So it was 110, it was like 1 something pre-flop, and he only shoved for like 140. So, I mean, I had backdoor flush. I mean, the call there, it's questionable. It's a losing call, but I'd rather be lucky than good any day. And with that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Until next time, good luck on the felts. Y'all take care. Peace.